Hello, hello, good morning, everyone. As we come on in, it is Banner and Backbone with Nick Perro, Melissa Corrigan, and our friends Gavin and Shrod from Centered America coming back to talk with us again for a second part of centering the American discussion. And oh no, Melissa switched again. What is going on? We're gonna. Hey, Melissa. Oh wait, I gotta go this way to see you right because I'm mirrored. Everything's weird for me. We're having technical fun issues this morning. Welcome, welcome. Have a good time as we come on in. I don't even know if we're streaming on Banner and Backbone yet because it's a morning. Oh, there we are. We're all up. I see all of us. Good morning, everyone.
With
Welcome
Awesome.
on in. I'm pulling up all the chats, and you'll see me in Banner and Backbone. Come on in, Melissa. Do you want to just go back to being vertical and stop that weird flip on us, and
let's
we'll
get
get you back
there
to
we go.
Melissa on Melissa falling over on us. So good morning, everyone.
Yeah.
Melissa, welcome, and Centered America friends, Gavin Sherrod, welcome again. How are you guys today?
We're doing very well. Well, today is the big government shutdown. I feel like everyone is feeling the kind of I don't know, the worry and the fear about what's going to come next, and I'm waiting to see. So, how are you, Gavin?
Yeah, it'll be an interesting day for sure. You can kind of feel the looming fog of kind of just unsteadiness in the country right now. And, we'll have to progress and see what happens moving forward. But, we're doing good. We're healthy. We're happy. And let's get in. Let's start talking.
Good. Well, I'm glad you guys are healthy and happy. I'm glad you are also well safe. Melissa, how are you doing today?
A little bit exhausted. I feel like I was up. I don't feel like I was up very late into the night, sort of trying to uh, speak a little calm into a lot of civilians who were disappointed that a bunch of generals didn't rush the stage and say,
Dogpile onto
calming
Exit.
down.
Yeah, as much as I would have loved to see all the generals just stand up and turn around and walk away, we knew that was never really going to happen.
I
Like,
Right.
I think I think the silence spoke for itself. I think while Pete
Yes.
Hegseth was
It really
making
did.
jokes and they just stayed completely silent, I think that tells you all you need to know.
Yep.
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I mean, when you're getting fat shamed by your leader there, it's kind of hard to walk out of the room.
Yeah.
yeah. Or when not only fat shaming, but you're being told that being a woman or being a person of color or being a trans person is literally, or sorry, anyone who's not a white male. The
Yeah.
reason you're in your position is because you were given it not on your merit, but because some policy. Generals in that room were black, were women,
Yes.
were Hispanic, were Asian, were non Christian white Americans too. There were Jewish generals. There were generals who were Protestant, Catholic, Christian, non denomination, Unitarian, probably a Satanist or two in there. I doubt it at the general level, but there's probably a few agnostic or even atheist generals in there. And it's insulting and it's derogatory and it's demeaning to the work that they have put in their lives. Yeah, LGBTQ plus. There's absolutely one or two gay generals. Like, I say gay over lesbian because there's more male generals than female, but there's probably a lesbian general too.
Oh, I
Like
don't know. The room was upsettingly
all
scarce of female leadership because a lot of them have been fired, have been
yeah,
released.
they've been purged. I think we
Eh,
should use purge over
Yes.
fired because fired would mean that
Yeah.
they lost their job for a negative reason, that they did
Right. They've
something
been
wrong.
purged.
They've been
eh,
purged.
Yeah, and I think that ties back into this government shutdown. It's like when the government is working only to harm and hurt marginalized communities in all different intersections other than white straight men, we are seeing that it doesn't work. The government is not working. So
Yeah.
why would Democrats go along with a government that is not working? They had to do something, and that is why we're facing what we're facing today, which is a government shutdown. But it's not on the Democrats, it's on Republicans for refusing to compromise and actually negotiate with Democrats in office. So,
Yeah, you're
Did you see
absolutely
Yeah.
right.
did you see the HUD website?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Blaming it on the radical left.
That was absolutely one of the most shocking things. After the speech yesterday, I was feeling a little more. I mean, the generals did what I expected them to do and wanted to see them do, which was to give them the boomer stare. I love that. But then to see what happened on the HUD website, I was chilled.
It's
Yeah,
disgusting.
Yeah.
it's disgusting is a great word. It's an overreach and abuse of power is what they're
Yeah.
doing. They are marginalizing our government, is actively hurting Americans, and they're not faithfully executing their law, the or upholding the laws or following their oaths. And I think, can we talk about maybe on a policy side, because that's where we need to get into, is like, how do we center a policy? What does centered policy look like? And I'd love for you guys to sort of recap your opinions on it. For everyone who's joining us for the first time, welcome everyone as you still come on in. This is Banner and Backbone, bringing you Centered America. So Melissa Corgan and Nick Perro, myself, are bringing you Centered America. Gavin and Sherrod today, to center a discussion on what center really means, because it doesn't mean falling for Trumpism and fascism. Centering is centering on the Constitution, not on fascism. So, at least in my opinion. So, I'd love for you guys to reintroduce yourselves a little bit and talk about Centered America's mission, and how it fits in right now, and how you see your guys. Sorry, how you see yourselves fitting in right now with Centered America to use it to help Americans.
Awesome. Well, my name is Sherrod Swaney. I'll start off with that. I'm the director of Centered America, which is a 501c4 organization fighting for democracy and resisting authoritarianism. This is my co-director, Gavin.
Hi, I'm Gavin. I'm the co-director of Centered America here. I'm a business student, and we're super excited to be on this podcast with you here, Nick, and really talk about what it means to be centered politically and on the policy side of that as well. But our organization, we work to center the narrative and talk to as many of these marginalized communities that we can, and allow for them to have their voices heard within the democratic process and within this government. And right now we see the clear opposition doing what they can to suppress those voices by actively shutting down this government. And this is not a political win. This is a failure of governance. And it's truly upsetting to see what's happening.
And what centered means to us really is the majority of people want certain things, like gun regulation, for example, and that's not being done or getting done. And we're seeing that there are extremist sides like MAGA that are very, very loud, but the majority of people that want certain policy aren't being heard. And so even though they're loud, the MAGA is in the minority here. The majority of people can come together and influence policy, and we believe that we need to center the discussion, and centering doesn't mean capitulating to Trump. It means really fighting back and tying face-to-face issues and really meeting people where they are. So yeah.
That's awesome. And so let's talk about maybe where people are today, and how we can center the discussion without sensationalizing what happened. And Melissa, I'd love for your thoughts to start in on this, because you're really good at it, and you have had you you have put out a lot of really good information thus far. So I'd love to get your thoughts, and then Gavin and Sherrod, your guys's to follow too.
Right. Well, like you mentioned this morning, there are people that question if things like Social Security checks are going to go out, and they are, and our veterans benefits going to keep going out. They are. So there are elements online on both sides that tend to sensationalize and can almost get people to a point of hysteria. So that's why I think these type of conversations are so vitally important to calm, to make sure that we are putting out the positive wins, like the behavior of those generals yesterday, and then having to explain and having the space, mental space and time and patience to explain sort of over and over why what we saw yesterday was a good thing. Our those two leaders fell flat; they look like fools. Um, so when it comes to the government shutdown, understanding what is going to happen and what isn't going to happen and making that super clear is important to sort of keeping that hysteria down and keeping everyone calm. What they want from us is hysteria. This is essentially a psyop, right? All of this, what's been happening since January 20th, has been an ongoing psyop against the American people, along with the things that actually are happening, because I'm by no means saying that there aren't very real things happening that are horrific and tragic. But the now what I consider state sponsored media, I think all of our mainstream media is 100% on board with promoting whatever message this regime is putting out. And we need to be aware of that, and so we need to proceed cautiously with what we are consuming. If all anyone is consuming is mainstream media, they may believe that we're doing just fine and all of these actions that are being taken are completely constitutional. If all anyone is intaking is sort of the far fringe of media, YouTube videos and Twitter, they may be in a full blown state of hysteria and believe that they got jackboots around the corner. So we need to, this is why I love you guys at Centered America. We need to come center and we need to have these conversations to reassure the American people that there are a lot of mechanisms in place that are working just as they should. Our judiciary is working as they should. More of these executive orders have been tossed out than not. That's an important thing to remember. We have judges and panels of attorneys even working pro bono to represent the men. Now, every man that was sent to El Salvador is part of a class action lawsuit and they are represented. Okay. That's an enormous win. You're not going to see that in the mainstream media. Okay. So these conversations, and we have to remember the government has shut down before. The last government shutdown was December 2018 to January 2019, 35 days, and it was over funding for the border wall. And I want to remind you that when Chuck Schumer gave that time, Trump gave him a like public pat on the head. So I respect Chuck Schumer sticking his heels in for this issue because this issue is my family. I am on the ACA. Okay. That's the health insurance for our family. And if those credits expire at the end of this year, unless I get, 5,000 new paid subscribers, our family's going to drop off healthcare. This is a very real, dire issue that impacts me directly. So I'm a little bit talking to the man in the mirror right now to in terms of keeping calm. um
I think that's important, though, is talking to ourselves and keeping ourselves calm and remembering and rationalizing like what we also need to do in the
yes,
next few weeks and
right.
months. And I know, Melissa, you sort of kind of jokingly said need 5,000 more paid subscribers. I'm not going to say it jokingly. Like, please come become paid subscribers with both Banner and Backbone and Centered America and all of our contributors here today. We are the independent media. We are not owned by the media groups that are state sponsored media, which are owned by Next Star and Sinclair Broadcasting Groups. Those are two very, very powerful groups that own a lot of the advertising and channel management for your local broadcasting networks. And if you want to show your displeasure and use your money wisely, is threaten to cancel or cancel what is being advertised if you have subscriptions with them and it's a service that you use, and spend it elsewhere. Spend it, either keep it and save for now and buy some food and support your neighbors, or spend it on contributors that you care about and like, and the networks that you support, so we can continue putting the message out, because things may get expensive on us if we get lawsuits, and I cannot handle a lawsuit by myself if that comes to it. Like, they're trying to label us as domestic terrorists, as the threat within. We are all working to protect ourselves too, and some of that is community support. Like,
Right.
so please become paid subscribers with all of us. We would absolutely appreciate the support and ability to grow. And so maybe link could we link that in a little with what you guys are doing with Centered America? Because I know you are a 501c4 company, organization, not
Yeah.
company, organization, and your abilities and the restrictions on you are different than, say, an LLC or a 501c3. Can you talk a little bit about how money, not specifically like money that we're asking for right now, but money that you guys have already received in memberships and things like that, how you're using those types of funds to support the growth of centering this discussion?
Yeah. So we are actually able to keep the paid subscriptions and use it. So we do like half to support us and then half to actually use for nonprofit funds. That means tickets for events. So like we went to DC, using it to fund different organizations like Powered by People that was helping the Texas Democrats. With the gerrymandering that was going on. They fled to Illinois. We helped them by donating to their organization. We donated to stop a data center be built here in the St. Charles. So we use that funding to actually help actual issues. And we always make sure to tell people, like, if you become paid subscribers, it's not all going to us. It is going to actual things that matter. And we're taking the steps to use that funding. And people will give us suggestions like, hey, can you donate here? Can you donate here? And we will. I also want to go back to Melissa was saying on the government shutdown, because I loved what she was saying, and I want to hit that before I don't have
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
time
Go
to.
wherever you guys want.
I think it is very important to talk about what we can expect here so that we kind of decrease the hysteria. What to expect if, in this shutdown. So for Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, benefits are going to continue, but field offices are going to scale back, but checks will still go out. For air travel, TSA and air traffic controllers still work, but they're going to work without pay. And so you're going to have to expect way longer lines and slower TSA. For SNAP and food stamps, the October benefits should load as normal, but if this continues longer than October, November is at risk if the shutdown drags. Women, infants, and children, WIC, that funding could run out if this lasts more than a week, and some states can operate into mid-October. Museums and parks, so the Smithsonian and other national parks, most national parks are going to close. The U.S. Small Business Administration is going to halt most new loans. For federal workers, pay is delayed but guaranteed once funding returns, so you get back pay. For contractors, there's no back pay guarantee, and they might need to file for unemployment. And then for scale, right, we're looking at 750,000 people being furloughed every single day. That's expected to cost us $400 million, taxpayers, $400 million per day in delayed compensation. So just to talk about the scale and what's actually going on, and actually bring it center with without going to extremes. This is what's going on. This is what a shutdown means right now.
Yeah. And, Melissa brought up a good point, about how it's important for us and how it's our responsibility to keep a steady hand during these times. And that's what Centered America is really about as well. We're not only talking about centering policy, but we're also talking about, centering the narrative, and making sure that everybody has correct information on the topics and problems at hand. And that's a very important thing that we do at Centered America by fostering a community of our own, of centered Americans who are actively reporting and actively helping out others in the community who need it. And that's what's so beautiful about what we're doing. It's about the people. It's about the problems that the citizens of the United States are having. It's not about party. It's not about the policy. It's about the problems that people are having right now and how we can address that the best that we can.
And I
And
think, yeah, I think the hysteria is something that's actually going on, and so people will ask us questions, and we will try to immediately respond with what's actually happening, giving them the information and giving them the resources, giving them action checklists. If people have questions, we always make sure to respond and make sure that they have the correct resources and information. So we actually put out a what to expect, the shutdown game plan. We gave action lists and scripts. And we made sure that people had that information, gave links to 5 calls, and then give links to resources on what's going to happen for them and their families. I think that's the biggest thing here that we need to remember is that these are real people, and even if the people in Congress don't believe they're real people, they are real people, and they have real lives and real families. I think Republicans in Congress forget that they live in the U.S. where there's over 300 million people, and they have to think of it as what their actions actually affect everyday lives, families, and I think they forget. I think they forget because they take private jets everywhere and go on vacation instead of negotiating. So
yeah, I mean, this shutdown doesn't just close the doors in Washington. It slams the door in every community that functions on federal funding. And there are many communities that rely on that funding very heavily to function, especially here in New Mexico. There's a lot of federal funding that marginalized and um, our most vulnerable communities rely on. And without that, we can start to see the deterioration of people and citizens in our community actively.
I'd like to get y'all's input. My kids, like, because they were raised by me, are very politically educated and aware. So they are aware there's a government shutdown, but they also are aware of what we just talked about, the sort of realities of it. Um, what are you guys seeing from Gen Z? Do they understand? Do they even care because they're not on Social Security? They're probably not federal workers. What's the general attitude that you're getting from people your age?
you can respond.
Yeah, many don't actually understand what a government shutdown is or how it works, and how it affects them. And you make a great point, right? A lot of the stuff that this shutdown is going to affect, they aren't really affected by that, right? Most of them aren't on Medicaid. Most of them don't have Social Security. Um, and because of that, it's hard for them to even care about the shutdown happening. And I think just providing, again, like what we were talking about last podcast, right, is just making sure that relatability is there and understanding that even if this doesn't affect you, it affects others in your community that you may care about. And, working together to eliminate that the best we can is a positive thing that needs to be done. And it starts with young people. It starts with people who can who have the ability to go out and sorry, my dogs are going a little crazy. I think they heard another one there. Hey, but it starts with young people, right? It starts with all of us, and we have the most energy, right? We have the most passion about politics, and I think it's just relating that back to Gen Z and even Gen Alpha now. They're starting to get to that age where they may care or want to care about politics, and I think that we want to focus more on, you know, the main goal when we started Centered America was trying to figure out how we can get more young people involved in politics and really passionate about changing policy and stuff for the good and for the betterment of society. And I think that moving forward, there are so many opportunities that we have to collaborate with clubs on university campuses and do events like that where we, involve so many young individuals and show them that politics isn't scary. It's not something that is uh, roadblocked, and it's not something that is super hard to break into, and that anybody, if you just care enough, can make a real impact.
And so expanding on what Gavin is saying, how are we doing that right now? We're utilizing a lot of the social media advocacy, which you still have to pair it with actual on the ground grassroots messaging. But we're using TikTok to our advantage, different social medias to our advantage. And we're going to make a video specifically about the government shutdown, because we do get a lot of views on our TikTok, where we just go over it and explain it to younger individuals. We have a lot of younger people who view us on TikTok, and then older people view us on Substack, and so we have a good range of age here. And we can meet people where they are, depending on those age ranges. So we use TikTok to reach the younger people, and we use Substack to reach older people and answer questions from both. And I think I also am seeing, just like you were saying, Melissa, that people in our age group don't really understand what's going on. Honestly, they're treating it like this is the first time this has happened, and they think the government's just gone and that it's just completely shut down. So I think that it's good to educate and make sure people understand. And honestly, we have the ability to educate in our 501c4. Going back to money, because I forgot to explain this, for nonprofits, just the legal aspect of nonprofits, you have to get a business bank account, and then everything has to go through there, and you use payroll. It's very much like an LLC, other than we have a classification, and we're tax exempt, and we can kind of lobby and do those
Exactly.
things.
Yeah, and we, when we first started Senate America, we considered all of the possibilities, right? LLC, and there's a difference between 501c3 and 501c4. And ultimately, we did decide on 501c4 status because that allows us to interact and lobby with, candidates, and people who have already been elected, our representatives, right? And we can partner with LLCs like Banner and Backbone here to get stuff done. And going back to the money, we started the nonprofit because it's easier for us to function under a nonprofit by allowing us to do more with that money, right? We can give it to other organizations. We can use it ourselves to fund different events and stuff. Like one thing that Jared left out was we used the money over the summer, most recently, to give out free snacks and food. Like we used this to give back to the community at No King's Day, and all those protests, and actively making sure that everybody there was fed and was hydrated and was safe. And we're able to do that a lot easier, and we're able to collaborate with so many amazing people more effectively under the nonprofit status.
And that's because of paid subscriptions and all of the paid subscribers.
Because
So
of
like
you
Nick was
guys
saying,
watching right
you know,
now.
we are able to make action with those paid subscribers. They're in our community, and they're actively affecting the community.
When you get a subscription to Senate America, you're not only getting access to so much extra content and stuff that we provide, but all that money goes directly to helping communities who need it the most, and using that money for the good, and for enriching this country, which is really what's needed right now. And it's all thanks to you guys, really.
Yeah.
So I have a question for
Yeah, go
for
for
you
it,
guys,
Melissa.
kind of personally and as an organization, with the signing of the presidential directive concerning who we're going to call domestic terrorists. Have either of you taken, because people have asked me this question, and I've been writing and producing under my government name for years. Like, if the FBI wants to track my phone, they're wasting their time because it's already out there. I haven't changed to a pen name or moniker. I don't really, whatever. I mean, at this point, I'm so deep in it,
Yeah.
so have either of you, and I'm curious because of your ages, because I just
Mhm.
know with my kids, like, have your moms been like, honey, you should be careful? Or have you taken steps to protect yourself, to sort of mitigate any legal challenges that may come your way as an organization and personally?
I think so. I want to get in. So we're thinking about forming a church actually, in order to not be labeled as Antifa. But um,
You know,
uh,
you laugh, you joke about that, but I have
That's fine.
it's a
actively
good
thought
idea.
of it's a
Yeah.
It's a
good
good
It's
fucking
idea.
idea.
it's
Like I've actively thought about it multiple times.
Because our religion, we can use the
My
actual
religion is the
founding documents
Constitution.
as our scripture, right? We
Mhm.
can read it as scripture, and that's what we follow, right? Our religion is the Constitution.
100% support.
And so
100% support this. 100% support
You,
this
you know,
idea.
I
this
love
Like,
it.
is
if they
the
want to turn us into a religious country, we may as well then just turn the Constitution into its own unique
religious
religion
document.
yeah.
document
And,
and not allow any other scripture in. Just be
and
like,
then
nope,
we can say that
No,
they're attacking religion,
no, you're
if they try
attacking
and
my
come after
faith.
us. You're attacking faith. You're attacking,
Yeah,
and we can have tons of people from different faiths. We can be like,
God
there's
damn
so
it,
many
yes.
Christians in our organization, our religion. There's so many Christians. So why are you attacking them anyway? So
We're
funny,
getting a
but
lot of
it's
good
true.
feedback in the chats from this idea, so I
it's
think
a
we should pursue
feasible
this.
idea.
I
People
You
are
think we
know,
very
should
It
pursue
supportive
is.
this.
of
I
it.
would love to be the high priest of the Democratic Church of the Constitution. Like, bam.
Yeah,
Like, I'm a former Jew. Like, I'm an atheist. You're going to bring in an atheist to a religion? Like, you're converting people already? Isn't that what
yeah, yeah.
evangelicals want to do? Is
Yeah.
evangelize? Like, hey, evangelize the Constitution, y'all.
exactly. You
And
know,
going to what Melissa was saying, my mom, she's a single mother, and we've moved around a lot. She's also worked with immigrant families. She's a NICU nurse, so we worked in New Mexico. She worked in New Mexico along the border, and so she got to see all of the abuse of this administration firsthand in the first Trump administration. And so how she acts when she's talking to me is she's like, "Fuck them up, right? Like, get it done, do something." And so she's very supportive.
Good.
She's a wonderful person and a good mother, and she works really hard. So she supports me, I support her. So
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah,
yeah, and
that's always.
I want to
Sorry.
bring up a question real quick from the chat, or a comment real quick from the chat from one of the friends of the chat who's been asking a lot of really good stuff. Lefty Prof. Thank you for asking good questions throughout. Appreciate it. Please continue doing so. I love the engagement from you guys, and love the questions. Is sort of a statement, but also a question for you in the next is the statement is, I would love to see some activism towards helping those who are not getting paid right now because of the shutdown. And we also, Melissa and I had been talking about this before, was helping service members when
Yes.
and if they choose to disobey an illegal order that gets put down, they're going to get financially punished, and how we can support them and our officers, to use our positions of influence to support, and this collective will of people to support them during this time. What do you guys think about that idea? And is it something that we could continue talking about? Because I think it's a great idea.
Gavin has some great insight on this. We talked about it when federal workers were getting laid off, and we wanted to fund and help pay for federal workers and give money to them. But I think we have to give them the resources as well. Mutual aid funds are a big thing. We can raise money and set up a way to act as a mutual aid fund for those workers that aren't getting paid right now because of the shutdown. And I think that is something that we want to start doing, is actually formulate something like that to give money, especially paid subscribers who can chip in. We'll use the nonprofit in a way to actually fund those people. Gavin?
Yeah, like what Sherry was saying before, we had discussed this topic when the first round of cuts were happening back in uh, March, April, May, early in the presidency. And we thought that we could develop a fund almost with Senate America money that could be accessed by federal workers. Now, looking at the challenges with that, obviously we're going to try and figure out the funding. It's something that we can definitely look into now that we are expanding. But that's a great idea. It really is, and we must provide support to those who are actively going on a limb to, do good for this country, and service members who are disobeying unconstitutional rules and orders. Doing that, we can support them also, like what Jared said, by giving them information, but looking into doing something with a mutual fund where we could allow
Hmm.
federal workers who have been laid off to access that is definitely a feasible idea that we can continue to discuss moving forward.
And
Definitely, this continues to persist.
And if this shutdown persists, like Gavin was saying, we have to look at a mutual aid fund. It's basically a community based way of sharing resources that includes pools of money. It includes, just directly helping the community, neighbors, individuals like generals that are refusing orders, service members that are refusing orders, and we can actually act as that. In Senate America, we can really make sure that we have that funding for individuals. So I think fundraisers are a big thing. We can fundraise and get donations. We're looking at grants right now. If this persists, we will hold a fundraiser and we will get funding to support those individuals.
Yeah, and I think maybe if we could discuss to not just the federal workers, but the next step of sustained aid for possible
Right.
individuals, specifically in the armed services.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that, as a veteran, and Melissa's a veteran too, is we know the military does two things when you disobey a command: is you get punished by being restricted your movement, and you get punished by restricting your pay. And they go with pay and movement first, always. It's part of your contract. They allow you to do it. So don't be like, oh my God, they're suspending military movement. No, they do it all the time. Like, military movement suspensions are very different than civilian movement suspensions.
Yeah.
But on the pay side, I think using like our platform, we will be able to advocate for this and just spread the knowledge and spread the word. Because one of the things I would like to, with your guys' permission today, while you're on, is to be able to rebroadcast this episode. I want to test some new things out for Banner and Backbone, to do almost a full-time live, where we recast some episodes so anybody can pop in whenever they want, listen to, get education, see things like this, restreams of this. So if you guys are willing to let us do that for this episode,
Yeah, of
and last,
course.
I'd love to get both of those streaming, because then we can just do here's part one, here's part two, catch them, maybe do them once or twice in a day, something like that. That way people get to see the reruns a little bit easier, and we can join discussions on them a little bit more clearly too at times. So
That's
thank
awesome.
you. So yeah, but I think one of the things too is advocating and making sure that they know. Like, we can advocate all we want, we can make these mutual funds, and we can do these fundraisers from our side. How are you helping, or what would be very helpful, or the most helpful for Senate America from our side, to be able to spread the message and spread the word so that others know these are going to be available or possibly available?
Yeah. So I think number one, using our platforms to actually make change, right? Getting people, like giving that message out to people. If you haven't, I would start posting those clips. Like Substack generates clips for on lives for you, and you can actually go in and make clips, and you can post those things to things like TikTok or Instagram Reels or Facebook or YouTube Shorts, and you can actually make sure that people get a very short way of getting that information. Because I think, we can have the live on, but a lot of people, especially younger individuals, they're getting their information really quickly.
Yeah.
And so shortening it down to like small clips where they're like, hey, this is available. done. You got the information. Now you know. Is very crucial in this situation. Um, and when it comes to mutual aid funds as well, right now the government is not working for people. It's shut down. People aren't getting pay. So we have to act as the government and make sure that we can give people what they need. And I think that's what we're going to start seeing, is that we need to act as some sort of community government, like you were saying, Nick, before we started live, um, to help individuals. And so, yeah, I think getting that information in a short kind of like small clip and giving out to people is probably the best bet, especially when you're on social media.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a great point, and I want to kind of circle back to what you were saying there. We have to understand that the people that are, viewing our information or anything through Centered America, that they're going to be a span of different ages, different generations, and different experiences, right? So we have to tailor, our content and the way that we deliver information, especially in critical times like now. That if it's for younger adults, right, we have to tailor that to more of a social media ended approach, right? And if we're talking to older adults, it's really breaking down, hey, going on live, giving them opportunities to interact with us. That's super important because that allows them to get the information they need, and providing that is super critical.
And I think it's because older people have longer attention spans. they
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
exactly.
and and honestly, it's a good thing. I think the younger people are losing their attention spans, and they just need really quick information to just get it right in their heads. And so and we're seeing that the middle-aged people are kind of like 50-50 on it, where some are needing really quick information. And of course, quick information is always good. It's not a bad thing. It's just we're seeing that some people need quick information, and some people are like, I want to watch every single minute in order to get this information. That's why I think the reruns are really great, because it allows for more people to watch what we're saying. But I also think that's why clips are really great, and gives them the information really quickly.
So
Yeah.
I wanted to talk about mutual aid. Like I've been saying this from the beginning. One of my regular readers, Morgan, has also been yelling this for months. We live in a capitalist society and money is a tool.
Mhm.
And they are intentionally, and I say they because this is not coming from Donald Trump. He's not that smart. I believe this is coming from the Heritage Foundation primarily, as well as the technocrats. They want to crash the economy to force us to be a financially broken people because a financially
Mhm.
broken people are far less able to resist. If you cannot afford food, if you cannot afford housing, and you see the strategy in criminalizing homelessness and then crashing the economy, which of course is going to force homelessness. So, having mutual aid is going to become one of the most vital tools of the resistance, of the rebuilding, whatever you want to call it or brand it. Um, they are going to break us down to our very lowest in terms of finances. They are toppling the economy, and the people at the top are only making money off of literally everything that's happened. Those at the top are making money off the stock market, they're making money off tariffs, and we are paying for it. We are holding the price tag. And then you look at the sheer amount of people, 750,000 people who don't get a paycheck. That is a
That's every day.
remarkable, that is a staggering amount of people, and that's not even counting the military. So you look at the sheer volume of people who won't have money coming in. We already know from statistics that we are at the lowest point almost in American history, except for the Great Depression, in terms of personal savings. People don't have the savings to weather these type of financial attacks, and these are intentional financial attacks on the American people. We've got to establish mutual aid funds. Another alarming thing that came to my attention through my personal experience, unfortunately, recently I left a physically abusive marriage 14 years ago now, and my ex-husband lives literally across on the other side of the country from us. We rarely hear from him, but recently, a few days ago, he called me enraged because he was talking to our 17-year-old son, and he said I was making our son an extremist, a radical. So I learned through that conversation that my ex-husband has gone, like a lot of abusive men, far to the right, because that feeds their narrative, that upholds their view of the world, that they are superior and all that shit. So one of his first texts to me, which is laughable because my son's 17, but one of his first texts was, I'm going to come out there and file for emergency custody because you are radicalizing our son. And to me, I could laugh that off because he's a joke. It's a joke. But for a mother leaving an abusive situation in a red state, that text would have been a very, very real threat. They are already moving in family courts to include evidence of political ideology. And if a parent is found to be, by a conservative judge in a conservative court in a conservative state, to be radicalizing their children through political ideology, now from the right, which I consider radical ideology, that's okay because it's all under the cloak of Christianity. But if it's anything outside that white Christian concept of conservative ideology, they're going to begin weaponizing the legal system and the family court system against those mothers. And those mothers are already leaving abusive situations. And what we may see is children being taken away from their mothers and put in a home with an abusive man who is going to radicalize his children with a radical ideology. And so that comes back to having mutual aid for those women who probably were in a marriage where they didn't have a job, didn't have income, didn't have education, may not even have a bank account of their own. So they're already struggling to survive at all. If they can successfully leave that marriage, they are going to need a massive amount of financial support. And this is only one group. So the moms in red states who are leaving abusive men, the federal workers who are going to be furloughed, the federal workers who already have been laid off, over 300,000 Black women are now unemployed from federal government positions. How are they paying their bills? We have got to establish, you want to talk about getting dark money, leftist dark money, uh, organized. This is what we should be calling our leftist celebrities, millionaires, and billionaires. This is what we should be forcing their hand. If you are with us, you need to speak with your dollars and you need to support these Americans being all out assaulted by this regime.
Melissa, that's absolutely, I that touches me because and I'm very empathetic and sympathetic to your situation, especially with your ex-husband. My mother is a single mother. She left my father, who's an addict. I kind of talked about that on the last live. But not to get too personal, but when we left, it was during COVID. When we left New Mexico and moved to Missouri, it was during COVID, and we were moving to a red state. And I can tell you that my mother really did use those mutual aid funds to her advantage, and I think that it did help her, and we're seeing that men are being treated more fair than women. Not fair, but they're given more incentives, especially abusive men. We're seeing that they are favored in court more often now, especially under a Trump administration, and it is disgusting. And that's why I think mutual aid funds do work. So I totally understand your situation because I am the son of an addict and the son of a narcissistic father. But I think that the more resources we can give to mothers in that situation, the better, right? That is the case.
Yeah, well put, Jared. I mean, that's both of you guys amazing. And moving forward, especially with the help of Banner Backbone, let's start working on that. That's definitely something that's feasible. And with everybody here, with everybody watching, if you would like to help, if you would like to be involved in any way, all help is wanted, really. We could use everybody helping out to allow this to foster into something that could truly be helpful to many Americans who will need it and will depend on it if this continues to persist through the future. And with the unreliability of this administration, this is a crucial step that we need to start working towards to protect as many people as we can.
How do we get? We just had a question of how do we get our names to you? Is DM us, reach out. I know Centered America has. You guys have a email that people can reach out to. I'll make sure you guys here in a second also have time to just say all your information, how people can reach out to you in every other way. I've been putting the link to your Substack into the chat for all of the chats throughout the morning. So please go subscribe. Or if you're in the chats right now and you're on a computer and you have multiple browsers, go into all of the lives, hit the like or hit the heart because it adds to the post show notes and actually adds hearts to the post shows, which helps get them out even bigger. And then spread it. But also DM, reach out to like Banner and Backbone. You can reach out to the actual Banner and Backbone DM on Substack. Please feel free to reach out if you want to get in touch with us on how to support, how we can help support Centered America, ideas on how we might be able to support. Suggestions are important because we're a community. And the four of us can't do it alone with with the other 3 or 4 or 5 we have in Banner and Backbone. Like, we're growing, but we need the financial support for all of us to be able to do this full time, to be able to get through all of this. So please, like, use your resources wisely in this time. Someone scanned our QR code. Hey, I love it. I'm going to put up Centered Americas here in a moment again. And then if you watch on the rewatch, and like I said, I'm going to stream this live, and Centered America's QR code will be up there too. So if you come into the live later to rewatch, please do subscribe to Centered America and support them however you can. Free subscribes are really important too. Like, don't feel like you have to pay. Free subscribes are huge because they get the word out. So Gavin, Sherrod, can you guys give us all the deets on where to find you guys, the best ways to support? I know we've talked about it a lot, how to support, but how can everybody here support you guys to continue to get this out?
Just real quick, Nick, I'd like to agree with you there. There are so many different ways that you can reach out to us. Thank you for putting up the QR code. We have, if you want to visit or just learn more about us, if you're new to this live, you could go to www.centeredamerica.org and our website with all of our information and ways that you can contact us are through there. You can find that all on the website. But for those who want to reach out to us directly, our email is just info@centeredamerica.org. And if you have any way of helping, because it's real. We can't do this alone. We need all of your guys' help in any way, shape, or form. It would be greatly appreciated. And again, you can reach out to us through DM. Any way you can contact us, please do so. We'll respond to you, and we'll do the best we can to either help or answer questions or concerns that you have. Or if you're just interested in want to inquire about Centered America or anything that we're doing, we're there as well.
Yeah, you can find us, like Gavin said, on centeredamerica.org. You can find us on centeredamerica.substack.com. And you can also find us on TikTok. Everything should be Centered America. We have TikTok, Instagram, X, YouTube. So all of our socials are the same name. It should be pretty easy to find us. You can email us at info@centeredamerica.org. We're always going to answer your questions and make sure that you have the proper resources. And you can listen to our news. We put out independent journalism, and we report on the news every single day. We make sure people are getting accurate information from multiple credible sources and journalists. So
thank you
Great
guys.
stuff.
It's amazing. Thank you guys so much for being here with us, and giving us this time. I hope we can continue this discussion again, if you'd be willing, next week also, for
yeah,
another continued discussion. I really do like this idea of the mutual aids, and maybe we can dig even further into that, and how we can all continue to support. And by next week, we'll probably have some more ideas on our side of what we can do to additionally support. Melissa, any last words from you,
Yep,
before
I
we get
always
ready
got
to
to
head out?
give my call to action. Today's call to action is for everyone to email the web manager at HUD to take down that disgusting partisan message that is a direct violation of the Hatch Act. And their email address is webmanager@hud.gov. And also just go look at it yourself. I've never seen anything like that on a boring old bureaucratic federal website. It's disgusting. It is highly alarming. And like I said, it is a direct violation of the Hatch Act. So that's webmanager@hud.gov.
Thank you,
yeah,
Melissa.
Thank you.
And with that, I actually think another call to action on that is, because we talked about the Hatch Act right there, and defamation and the legal system, is it is our turn to fight back. And citizens collectively, as classes of people, can sue for defamation, for Hatch Act violations. We don't have to wait for others to do it for us. It is our turn to do it. And so I think you're going to start seeing some good action out of us. Hopefully, we can reach out to some folks who are legal experts, and how they can support us. But if you're in with the idea of citizen led suits to sue these fuckers out of existence so that we can get reparations from fascism, because they have stolen our wealth as Americans, and the only way we get it back is we sue the shit out of them and take our money back. They've been doing it for years, but frivolously. Like, we can do it for real. Like, I'm not a terrorist. I fought for my country. I have a DD 214 that says honorable discharge with multiple Army Achievement Medals and citations and other, like, activities. I went to training. I am an American soldier. Like, I am not a terrorist. That is defamation against my service, against my parents' service, against my brothers, against my sisters, my wife, my cousins, everyone in my family. We should act like it and treat it as such. So, my call to action: come support all of us. Come become paid subscribers if you can. If you can, become paid subscribers to all of us, starting with Centered America, Bannered and Backbone, and then go down the list. Counter Story Media. If you got anything left for me, give me some money too. I'd love it. And Gavin, I'll give you a word, because I know you look like you got something good to say here.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to add also is no critical information will ever be put behind a paywall at Centered America. We built that into the system when we were very, very sure when we made that decision back in February that we never wanted to put any critical information behind a paywall. And becoming a free subscriber, like Nick said, does a lot. It shows your support. Shows your support for our organization here, and helps us out in more ways than you can imagine. And being a paid subscriber only donates to the fund, and to what we're doing here at the organization. And you get an extra couple of free goodies there as well when you become a paid subscriber. So, become a Centered American. We'd love to have you if you're not already. And thank you so much for having us on, Nick. This has been amazing.
Thank you
Oh,
so much.
absolutely.
Me and Gavin will be hashing out a plan for how to actually take hold of that mutual aid idea. So this week, and when we go on live next time, we'll have some more solidified plans for it. So,
and if any of you guys have any suggestions, just reach out to us. We'd be more than happy to hear what you guys have to say.
Amazing. Yeah, guys, all of us, everyone in the audience, thank you so much to the I want to say nearly 500 people who have tuned in between our 4 channels. Like, thank you all for being here. Citizen-led action is what we need now, and that's what we're creating. So Gavin, Sherrod, Melissa, thank you all. Thank you everyone in the chat. We love the feedback and engagement. This has been Banner and Backbone presenting Centering the Discussion in America Part 2. And look out for Part 3 next week. We'll be back on Wednesday, same time, same place. And thank you all. Have a great afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.